Welcome to the Sheff United Way match preview, and this is a bounce back episode. After a very disappointing Boxing Day, we are now still just about joint top of the table, and we are facing West Bromwich Albion at Bramall Lane. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. So it was the first game of the 𝗍𝗵𝗲 era, and after they were paraded with a lap around the ground before kickoff, optimism was pretty high, I think, around Bramall Lane that we would continue our great record at home and pick up a really important, potentially season-defining victory at Bramall Lane. But alas, that was not the way that the game played out. United were, to use my own phrase, and I'm not sure it is a word, I felt we were out-Uniteded. I felt that Burnley did everything that United have been doing to other teams all season. They didn't give anything away at the back. They were so solid defensively. And when the time came, they took their chances a bit luckily, shall we say. A little bit of a dodgy deflection. Maybe we could have done a little bit more to keep out that first goal. But once they got ahead, their game management, their defensive stability, they really reminded everybody that they are right in the promotion contention and they are right on United's heels, just nipping at us. Now, while the result itself was a bit disappointing, I was willing to let that slide. We can move on from that. But there was something a lot more worrying that happened during the game. That was, of course, 𝗍𝗵𝗲 going off at half-time and then putting out a somewhat cryptic Instagram message saying that he will be back stronger. That implies to me that he's going to be out for a little while. And 𝗍𝗵𝗲, he went off and he looked in a really bad way. I've seen a lot of people suggesting it could have been his ankle. Some people think it could have been his hamstring. My immediate worry, I was concerned it was his knees. He's had problems with his knees in the past. He's had ACL injuries. So I was really concerned, particularly that it came as he was twisting. They're huge players, huge players for United. And we've got to hope that they're back soon, not just for our own chances, but also for them. It's horrible to see players going down with injuries. So fingers crossed they can be back soon and they can help United kick on from this fantastic first half of the season, because we are at the halfway point after the Burnley game, 23 games played, top of the league on points won, joint top of the league in actual fact. It's been fantastic. Let's hope, though, that we can pick it up, we can kick on, and that we can hear some good news coming out of the club soon. You know, we've got the takeover. Let's see what we do in January to really make sure that we're still at the top of this league come the end of the season. Now, before we move on to team news, let me thank our video sponsors, Panenka Bar and Grill. Now, this is a stunning premium bar. It's set over 2 floors. They've got 2 bars. They've got a restaurant space. They've got luxury, unique VIP boxes for private hire. It really is a fantastic place to go. It is United's, it is Sheffield's ultimate social experience, and it is our designated pre- and post-match bar of choice. You can watch all the live football in there, and it is just a 5-minute walk from Bramall Lane at the entrance to New Era Square. So let's look at our lineup, and what am I going with? I'm saying it's Michael Cooper in goal, 𝗍𝗵𝗲 at right back. Now, Ēnel has to come in. He has to. There's no choice, really. He managed to play at the end of the game. The other day came on and played right back, but it'll be great to see him back, being able to play a full game. I do think he should be fit enough for 90 minutes, hopefully. But he's going to have to be, because we need him to fill the shoes left by 𝗍𝗵𝗲. It'll be Jack Robinson that's next to him. Now, that concerns me just a little bit, because these were our main 2 centre-backs last season, and we all saw what happened last season. They were also our main 2 centre-backs at the start of this season, such as the game against QPR, where for the second half defensively, we were in a little bit of a mess. Now, that's me being negative. Me being positive is that they've both had brilliant seasons so far. Neither of them have cost us goals. They've not cost us points. They've both been pretty reliable, and they've done a really good job whenever called upon. Let's hope that's the version of them that continues, and that's what we see this weekend. Now, Harrison Burrows, I thought, had a really difficult game against Burnley, and it's possible he could be rested. We could see Sam McCallum step in, given a start. But that's just not what I'm expecting. I think it will be Burrows. I think we're going to go with it as many of the first team out as possible. Now, in midfield, it'll be 𝗍𝗵𝗲. But next to him, we've already referenced that concern about 𝗍𝗵𝗲. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near fit for this one. So Tom Davies, I expect to start. Now, we don't know what happened with 𝗍𝗵𝗲. We don't know if he's been rushed back too soon and he's got injured again. We don't know if it's just something that would have flared up anyway. What I will say is I would have played him against Burnley, 100%. I think it was the right decision. Big game of the season at Bramall Lane. He had to come in and we had to take that gamble. In hindsight, it's easy to say, maybe he could have done with another few days. Maybe we shouldn't have took the risk, but we had to. It was so important. And so we had to make sure that he was playing. And it's a shame what's happened. Let's hope it's not too serious. And let's hope it doesn't affect the rest of our season. Now, 𝗍𝗫𝗍 was out injured apparently on Boxing Day. Wilder has referenced that he had a tight hamstring, but hopefully that isn't too serious. I would love to see him come back in here. I thought his absence was one of the main reasons that we lost control of the game against Burnley. It created a giant hole down that right side. 𝗍𝗫𝗲 was isolated. They had two players pushing on, and we saw it particularly for the first goal that Humphreys had all the time in the world to pick his cross. If Raksak is there, he's getting back. He's adding a little bit of pressure, and their left back's just not got that space, not got that freedom to be able to play crosses the way that he did. So I think that was a huge loss. And I think whatever happens, we have to go back to 4-2-3-1. We can't continue with the experiment of 4-4-2 because we saw against West Brom last time. They're great down the wings. They're going to try and do exactly what Burnley did in terms of overloading. So let's have a winger out there just to add that little bit of pressure, maybe keep the fullback pushed back so that he's not able to double up and overload against 𝗍𝗫𝗲. If it's not going to be Raksak because he's not fit, then I would like to see Brooks. We know he's not been on his best form, but it'd be great to see him getting back in the team. And if not, I think Brewster can play that role out on the wing. The other three pick themselves. Callum O'Hare, Gustavo Hamer, Kiefer Moore. They've got to play, and United have got to try and bounce back as best we can. But do you disagree? What do you think? Let me know in the comments what team you would be playing for this game. I am running the rule over what West Brom season has been like so far. Now, they've only won 3 of their last 17 games. And on Christmas Day no less, their manager Carlos Corberán left the club to join Valencia. Following that, they then lost away to Derby on Boxing Day. And so are coming to Bramall Lane in a bit of a rut. And they will have a lot to prove if they want to push themselves back into that top 6 and into that playoff contention. Now, Semi Ajayi and Daryl DK are their biggest injury concerns. They are both long-term and have both been missing for the majority of the season so far and will be missing for a long time yet. Now, similar to United, they lined up in a 4-2-3-1 in their game against Derby on Boxing Day. They started with Palmer in goal, a back four of Furlong, Holgate, Bartley and Hegham. They then had Rakic start alongside Alex Mowat in the defensive midfield. I don't expect that will continue. We saw that Malumbi came in at half-time, and I think he will start. So I think it will be Malumbi and Mowat that are next to each other, especially if he's now fit enough. If he can do 45, you can probably do 90. I'd expect him in the team for this one. The front three in that game was Maggie Johnston, John Swift, and Tom Fellows, but I don't think they will continue. I think Grady Diangana, he scored against Derby. I'd expect him to come in instead of Johnston, so it'll be Diangana, Swift, and Fellows, and they'll be behind Josh Maja, who is one of the division's top scorers, started like a house on fire, but has slowed off in recent weeks. Now, moving on to the referee. Now, the referee for Sheffield United versus West Brom is Stuart Atwell. He's taken charge of 12 games so far this season, but the majority have been at the top level in the Premier League. We've got ourselves a Premier League ref. He's ref 10 in the Premier League, 1 in the Nations League, which I think he's the first ref we've had this season who's got international recognition, and just the 1 championship game so far this year. In those games, he's given out 42 yellow cards at an average of 3.5 per game, but only 2 red cards and just the 1 penalty. He has reffed United 11 times in his career, but he's not reffed us since last season. He last reffed United in our 1-0 away defeat against Everton at the end of last season. But this does not make pretty reading. Our record when being reffed by Stuart Atwell reads 11 games played, 8 defeats, 1 draw, and just the 2 victories. Now, he's also reffed West Brom 13 times, and they've got a pretty poor record themselves. They've won 2. They've only lost 2, though, but they have drawn 9. They do call them West Bromwich Drolbian, and they do that for a reason. They draw the majority of their games, and United have got to try and break that record. And I apologise for the terrible pun. Now, we come into our player connections, and our player connections are brought to you by Pirate Peel. Pirate Peel is a virtual band, and many of their members are huge Sheffield United fans. Please do go and check out piratepeel.com. Their latest album is called Tall Tales of 10 Girls, and it is a banger. Please do go and check that one out. Now, the 4 players who played for both, Mason Holgate. Now, he spent time on loan with United last season in the Premier League during that horrendously awful season when our defence was terrible. He is now in his 2nd loan spell with West Brom and has made a total of 19 appearances for them across those 2 spells. Kian Bryan. Now, a man who we have interviewed on this very channel. He played 13 times for United and scored 1 very memorable goal in our victory at Old Trafford. Now, none of us could be there to enjoy it. but it's still a pretty good memory, I'd say. In terms of that, he left United, went to West Brom, but he only made 3 appearances before very, very sadly having to retire due to recurring knee injuries. Sheff Horsfield, they're not good names. I've started badly, but he spent 3 really memorable years with West Brom. He is a legend at their club. He was part of their promotion to the Premier League, and I think it was 2003. He was part of that massive Great Escape, the most famous Great Escape in 2005, when they came back from the dead bottom at Christmas Day, the first team ever to get out of the relegation zone after being bottom on Christmas Day. He then joined United on loan from West Brom and made 3 appearances during his time on loan with the Blades. For some reason, despite him only playing 3 times and never scoring a goal, United did then sign him on a permanent deal. Must have been to do with a clause in his contract. He never played for us once he joined us on a permanent and left the Blades, having only ever played those 3 games that he played on loan. So, a good West Brom player, but a terrible United one. That's how my memory be. The final player in terms of my shoddy memory is Matty Phillips. Now, Matty Phillips only played 6 times for United. And so you might be looking at this and thinking, you've picked 2 players who played a total of 9 games on. They were on loan. They were, but Matty Phillips has a special place in my heart. When he joined Sheffield United when we were in League One, he was outstanding. He got 5 goals in his 6 games and was very, very clearly just miles above the level in terms of being able to play at League One. And that has shown from his career after being recalled by Blackpool, in that he's never gone back down to a level even close to that. He spent the majority of his career in the Premier League and spent a lot of time with West Brom, where he made 238 appearances for the Baggies. Now, please tell me some of those better connections in the comments. Who would you have gone for? Who do you think deserves a mention in that United and West Brom sphere that's played for both? Now, finally, we come to our score predictions. Now, if you want your score prediction to be featured as part of this section, please do go and try and help us out by joining Sheff United Way on patreon.com. So you can access that through patreon.com/Sheff United Way. It is that straightforward, and you will receive a whole host of benefits, including a fantastic group chat where we can talk all things United, all things football, and at Christmas, all things darts. Now, what do the Patreons think this game is going to look like? Adam is a bit spooked by what happened against Burnley. He is predicting a 1-0 West Brom win. Back-to-back home defeats for the Blades. Hal and James, they've both gone for draws. James thinks it's going to be a 1-1. Hal thinks it's going to be a 0-0. Not quite the bounce-back ability that we're hoping for. But everybody else has got faith. They believe in this current United team. They've gone for Nick, MVB and Steve. They all think we're going to win 1-0. Ewan thinks we're going to win 2-1. Paul, Ray and Anne all think that we're going to win 2-0. There's a lot of confidence and a lot of positivity coming out there. Myself, I'm umming and ahhing. I have been all day, because without Sousa, without Suter, they're 2 massive losses. But I think United will bounce back for this one. I'm predicting a 2-1 home victory. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give us your score predictions and tell me, as a bonus point for Christmas, who do you think is going to score those goals? For me, I think 𝗣𝗵𝗴 is going to get one, and I think we're going to get one from a surprise area. I'm going for a Nell. I think it's finally time that we hurt somebody off a corner. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening, for watching this video, for listening and watching to this match preview. I hope you all go well, and I look forward to seeing you at Bramley on Sunday. Up the Blades.